like that. I like that. I like that. I like that. I like that.
Good evening.
Hey, everybody.
Shuck it, duck it. Where Mr. Brown went at?
I heard his voice. Told me he was in Kansas City.
I hear you. Oh, okay, there you go. There you go. There's 5 of us on there. Where did Amir went? And Tanya
told me he was in Kansas City.
Who?
Mr. Brown.
You in Kansas City?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you in Kansas City. Okay. Well, anyway, welcome. Good evening, everybody.
Hello. Hi.
How y'all doing today? We got a lively show today. A lot of information to give out. Got some great guests. I don't know what happened to one or two of them. Gator, he's Commissioner Gator Rivers. He's so antiquated. He's about 100 years old. He don't know how to use his flip phone to get on there. He like Charlie Brown. Charlie got out of the flip phone. Gator still got one.
If you're gonna do a comparison, try to find someone else. I appreciate it. Cause don't compare me to no Gator Rivers, okay? The two are not the same.
We know your flip phone and his flip phone. I'm comparing y'all phones. Okay.
Don't even compare. I've been changed phones over 2 years ago. Please.
And then we got the good commissioner up top. Welcome, Commissioner A. Whiteley.
Thank you for having me, ATR. The Rabble. Shout out to ATR for all of the work you guys are doing. I appreciate you guys offering a different perspective as it comes to media and the news. So thank you for having me. Hello, Mr. Brown, Mr. Toure, Mr. Hall, Miss McKeithen, and Mr. Bernard, because I don't know your last name.
His name is Brown too.
Oh, well, there it is. Both Mr. Browns.
Okay. Well, I'm just a better looking Mr. Brown.
Oh, yes. Gotcha. I'll take your word for it.
Because you're the oldest one.
Hey, now, don't help him, okay? Do not help him, all right?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay out of it. I stay out of family business.
Okay.
Well, we got a jam-packed session tonight, and we're going to be doing a whole lot of different things start next week with our sponsors and everything. But for this week, we're going to chart the waters and get on through. We got to since the good commissioner is here, the other commissioner was on, and Crystal is supposed to be helping the old man get on. So when she get him on, he'll be on also. But I know that the good commissioner here don't need no help. I done seen him in the boxing ring.
Hey,
Yeah, so we're gonna start right off. Oh, Dr. Toure, you down in the corner, and you and Bernard and Sandra out Sandra is out in Texas, and Dr. Toure here and Bernard Brown, he's in Atlanta, Georgia. So
A-Town.
we are from all over the globe. We cover it all. But let's go with our first subject. Brother Whiteley, we're gonna
Yes,
get
sir.
to you. You down about the third one, but we got a couple of subjects, if you don't mind, until your two counterparts come on. Crystal, I hope you getting Mr. Gator Rivers on, Commissioner Gator Rivers on. Give him a call and help him out because he didn't know whether to go on Safari, Chrome, or Edge. So help him out, please.
Julius, since
What?
we have Dr. Toure on, and he's all things black, I have to talk to him about something, and it's pressing because people in Houston, they're torn. Black people in Houston are torn between whether we should be celebrating Juneteenth. Can you tell Black people what is our, because this was something that happened to us, and it started over here in Texas, that the people, the slaves in Texas were not released for 2 years after the emancipation, so Black people over here, some of them are saying, well, why celebrate being late?
Mm.
So what
What's the
would
question?
be that's the question. Why celebrate being late?
I understand what my sister's saying. I definitely understand what my sister's saying because she ain't had to elaborate because that's my sister right there. Now, sis, I'm gonna let you know that. Now, we do have an infiltrator who sometimes get a little bit beside himself, and he like to go and talk about yo and other stuff like that. I'm just saying.
Who gave you permission to throw that up, Mr. Toure? Yo. Yeah.
But yes, ma'am. Now let me share this with you. And in fact, that's why last week with WTOC, that's why when we did the interview with them, that was some of the things we talked about, and that's some of the things we're gonna be discussing when we do some Juneteenth programs this weekend. We're gonna throw it up there, and this is some of the stuff we shared even on last Saturday. That we go and give up our own stories of valor. We give our own stories of our significance because when we let other people market to us, and that's what happened. Part of it has been marketing that has gone on. As I tell folks, I don't take no credit away from what happened in Texas because again, this is a way for them to commemorate. But then what happened? People in Georgia not jump on the bandwagon, they want to have large celebrations. I'm not knocking that. I'm like, hey, homogenization for some things, I'm like, that's cool. But then how do you forget that the oldest emancipation celebration in the United States occurs in Upson County, Georgia, in Thomaston, Georgia, 1866. And they did it in May. Generally, they would celebrate around May 29th. But what happened, we know that African people here already know about all of this. They know about it in November and December 1861. So they are celebrating, they are down with freedom over in this area, 1861. Then it goes to expand to 1862, when now right here in Savannah, Georgia, or Chatham County, Georgia, where you have a general that will go and say, listen here, all the Africans shall be free in Georgia, South Carolina, and Florida. David C. Hunter. Hunter Army Airfield is named for David C. Hunter. So here go us here. It's like we forget about all our stories altogether, and that's what becomes shameful. Then you all trying to figure out why young people act the way that they do. They act the way that they do because they don't know who they are, and you don't even help them. And so now, my sister, what you were saying, it goes to another level. Some folks have said, and they are correct about this. See, now when you have the Senate saying, "Oh, we will push for Juneteenth to be a federal holiday," some people they think that's joyous. But guess what? You got folks throughout these various states right now, in southern states in particular, who are diminishing your right to vote. So
That's
what
correct.
happened?
Yeah.
And I'm going to go back and tell people this is political science, elementary political science from Savannah State University, Savannah State College when I was there, that when our professor, Dr. Haynes Walton, told us they will give us symbolic victories, but will not give us, as I'm going to say, tangible victories. This is a symbolic victory right now. Yeah. But then the tangible stuff, it was being taken away from us. So we get caught up. And I told the folks earlier today, I said, this is like somebody giving you cotton candy to eat. You like the cotton candy, you like all the sugar, but guess what? You keep eating it, your teeth are going to rot out, you're going to have cavities. You need the meat and potatoes, you need the vegetables, you need all of that. And that we need something substantial, not something symbolic.
I think you put it in the right perspective. And and the way I'm looking at it, they trying to give us something like that and take away the voting rights in Florida, Georgia, Texas, all over the country. I'd much rather have that in play than have Juneteenth. Something that they should have let us know about 2 years when it happened. They kept it a secret. And now they say we're going to celebrate it. You know, I question when they want to give you something, they want to stick you with something else. And that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah. They haven't even signed our hate crime in it. And we still waiting on that. Emmett
Till bill.
We still waiting on that.
Correct.
But the Asian got theirs. That's all I got.
Without marching, not one day. They didn't march one day. Yeah. I want to know how they did that. I've been trying to go to some of the nail shops just to ask questions.
Yeah. They feel like they're bringing more to the economy than the black folks is, so that's why they bill got signed so quick.
Yeah.
Juneteenth is, don't get me wrong, it's symbolic, it's important, it took place, but guess what? It's minute for you to run around and saying for 2 years they didn't give us the notice that we was free, and now you gonna take my voting away from me? I can't vote. Vote is your voice. It's your power.
Yes.
So which one as African Americans, which one should we be celebrating? Should we celebrate July 4th or should we celebrate Juneteenth?
Let me throw this out there. When I share, folks, in fact, across the entire South, each state had its own independent or its own Emancipation Celebration Day. That's why in Georgia at one time, black folks in Georgia celebrate in April. And like I say, in Thompson, Georgia, they still celebrate today. And actually, let y'all know, other folks there in Thompson, Georgia, Upson County, Georgia, they have a derogatory name for that day, the other people. Because what used to happen in Georgia, they talk about how trains would come from throughout the entire state of Georgia and go there and celebrate that day right there on around May 29th. Thompson, Georgia. So, and that's why Florida celebrates, and the day in Florida is May 20th. So each state had its own day, but that's what happened. I tell folks, when you stop telling your story, it falls by the wayside, and that's what has happened. So we ain't got to necessarily have, say, June, but we had our April date, and we had our times in May. And that's why in South Carolina, they had their days. Alabama had their days. But guess what? When we become homogenized and we don't know our story, we let people market to us that, this is the day for you all right here. When I'm like saying, if that's for Texas, that's fine. But in Louisiana, it's a different day. Oh, that's how it was. But we forgot.
Yeah.
So Sandra, if you finish interrupting
I'm sorry. You don't get an audience with Dr. Toure very often, right?
You can watch the show at 6 o'clock every Wednesday and ask him any question you want.
Julius, Julius, you gotta let her go because seniors can't remember. We have senior moments, so she could have very well have a senior moment, and she needed to get it in there.
I did. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we're gonna get into this because we don't want to hold the commissioner too long. And we got the other commissioner. I guess he on voice because I don't see his picture. Are you there, Commissioner Rivers?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'd much rather hear him than see him. You see the way he looks?
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get into some subjects. Y'all just hang on. We're gonna get to y'all third on the agenda so we can ask these questions, but we're gonna run through these things real quick and then we'll get to you all so we can have a lively discussion. First we got the Savannah Police Department with we made national news this week, with the firing of 5 officers. We had 5 officers that was fired for the untimely death of William Zachary Harvey while in police custody. What say you?
No, some of them were terminated because of the video that they passed around.
Right.
Yeah.
What was the video?
I'm interested to see what the GBI report says in regards to that gentleman's death. It is definitely disturbing, to say the least. And I'm sure that we don't have all the answers right now, but that's terrible. And to think of the fact that you had some, just like Amir said, who were fired due to the sharing of the racially charged joke about that man hanging or alleged hanging, and then some who were fired for procedural issues. I think we're really just at the beginning of this. And so I'm really eager to see how it all plays out.
Not good making mockery of anyone death or anything like that. And that was distasteful. And we, as the Black community, we cannot sit still. And that's one of the reasons they should have been fired, because that's a person death. And he was a human. So please spare me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of turmoil here in this city. We got a lot of things going on, but and we're making the national news for all the wrong things. That was one of them. And then the second thing that we made national news for was the mass shooting. But we just had a show on that 2-3 weeks ago, and I brought it up and I said, what is up with these mass shootings all over the country? And then you wouldn't think that it's happening here, but I say we better be careful. I'm not going any place with large crowds, because these people are coming around shooting up crowds, trying to get one person. They don't care who they kill. They're just shooting up people.
Don't go any place where young people are in charge.
Yeah.
No man will be disrespected.
Right. And it was the young man who got killed was one of my best friend, Kevin Coleman's son, his only son.
Right.
It's a shame. It's very touching, and you know, something got to change. Something got to change.
You know, I had my friend Gator Rivers. I heard Gator sort of chime in for a minute. Gator, let me ask you a question. What's some of the things you might attempt to try to just slow it down in Chatham County? Because that's what I have to worry about home base first before I worry about other places.
Amen.
What would you suggest?
What I suggest is that we take charge of our young people. And when I say take charge, we don't give them more than they can handle as far as authority go, you know? And I'm looking at that from the aspect of the school system as it relates to the home. Our kids are going to school hoping somebody give them character, and their character should come from home. So I'm saying that the way our young people interact with each other the way our young people interact with us as authority, there's got to be some changes made there before you can go any place.
So we need to try to look at trying to educate their parents or get with their parents, because you're saying it need to begin at home before they get to the school, right? Looking for character.
The parent sends a character to school. That character deals with the educational system. Teachers, administrators,
right,
coaches, they deal with them. The way they deal with them is based on the attitude that they bring to school. Now, when you look at the teachers and you look at the coaches are helping these kids to develop who they are. And if they're not doing that, what you get is a person with no character, no integrity. And that's what I'm seeing with the coaching and the teaching in the public school system at this point.
Well,
Dr. Toure, Dr. Toure, I know that a lot of people are saying that we are always talking the issues, but we don't give out any solutions. What do you have anything to say to those people, and how do we get to the next level of thinking in this with solutions?
Ask me.
I got something to say
okay,
too. I got ideas too.
Okay, well we're gonna go with we're gonna go with Dr. Toure, then we'll go to ADOT.
I think it'd be probably go with the commissioner, let the commissioner go first, because again, I think it's a combination that what Commissioner Rivers has said, what Charlie Brown's thrown out there, that again, this is something important. So I'll let because that plays a role, because it's something that the county is doing. Excuse me, I don't mean to get going. That there's something that the county has been doing that the city has not done. And I'm around some coaches and some trainers, and they've been saying the county is doing this right here, and that is good. They said the city is not doing this, and this is hurting us, and this took place in the city. So that's why I've let them go forward. Yeah, Commissioner White is being proper.
Well, I think one of the first things we have to do is understand that, just like Commissioner Rivers said, a lot of this is starting at home, but we have to understand that not all of us as parents have been equipped ourselves. So we have to have a no holds barred assault on poverty, and use those opportunities to teach men to fish, and teach men to ultimately, and when I say men, excuse me, people, parents, to fish, to help get themselves out of these certain situations, and to get more culture. I think the other thing is, as it relates to children, is we have to engage kids, not just in sports, because just like Commissioner Rivers said, he's right. A lot of children are getting their character lessons, and some parents, in some cases, from the coaches. Some of these coaches, when you look at the volunteers that are out here, they are getting these. They're seeing business owners who are coming out and volunteering their time. They're seeing people who are leaders in their career fields, and they're coming out and volunteering. So it gives them access to some different people who they may not normally have access to. And so information is power, and creating avenues and creating environments where these information can be shared, to, again, attack poverty, to help expand people's culture, I think, or make people more cultured. I think that's one thing. Another thing that I think has to happen is that we have to be very real about how we fight poverty, how we fight, homelessness and stuff like that. We can do conceptual things that sound good, it briefs well, it looks good in the presentation, but if the execution isn't practical, then we're really spinning our wheels. I'll give an example. If we are going to talk about affordable housing, right? As I talk about culturing people, one of the things, if I had the magic wand, I would look to try to create, just like we govern vacation rentals in town to where every neighborhood can have so many vacation rentals. I would do a similar program, but say every neighborhood could have so many tax abatements for homeowners to keep rents at a certain level so that people can live in different areas. if we are going to say affordable housing is just building a neighborhood in one area or another, we're ultimately relegating folks from this socioeconomic stature or the socioeconomic category to the same spot, and they're not getting the opportunity to be around some different folks. I know, for example, I grew up in New Mexico, right? And I used to think that only white folks ate supper, like supper, right? Black folks eat dinner, white folks eat supper. Until I got invited to some white folks' house for supper, and it was like, yo, this is dinner. But again, this was me being exposed to a different culture. If I live next door to people who don't necessarily look like me or who don't think like me, I have more opportunity to engage them and hear and learn from their perspectives, positive and negative. So I think that there has to be a social reckoning within our communities to say, if we're going to attack poverty, if we're going to attack homelessness, if we're going to attack affordable housing shortages, it's not only by throwing money into organizations. It can also be solved by throwing money into resources to help teach people how to fish and to give them access to cultures and different cultures.
So what I hear you saying, Commissioner Whiteley, is that is that Step Up Savannah is not a good conceptual idea. You know,
well, so
I mean, because they, you know, for many years, how many years, Amar? What about close to 20 years? Step Up
over 20 years. Over 20 years.
They've been getting money just to do monopoly. That you
poverty
you
simulation.
Know, yeah, the poverty simulation. I mean, good money.
Well, so
that they could have been putting into you know, diverting other places, you know, to fight poverty, because they hadn't caused poverty to come down not even a half a point in the city of Savannah, Chatham County, since they've been in you know, since that organization has been founded. You know, right. It's just one of those feel-good type things to say, oh, well, we're doing something. But when they initially founded that program, poverty was at 11%, and now poverty is at a smooth almost 30%. So correct. What has been the impact? You know, giving out money. When they're giving out money through the city, through the county, they need to start looking at these organizations that has been historically getting money for poverty reduction and say, well, what has been the impact? But go ahead.
Well,
no,
can I say
that is a statement.
Go ahead. Let Adolph answer. Answer, Adolph.
I just want to say, for clarity, God, I didn't name any specific organizations, but however, I am saying that I think we have to take a holistic approach to it. And when we talk about the they, we have to understand that they are all on this screen. It's us. We are they. We are the ones who power our elected officials and so on and so forth. If we want to talk about where city is spending their dollars, where the county is spending their dollars, how many of us on this have looked at the budgets to say, hey, and ask questions? You know, I'm sure you have. I'm sure most of y'all have, you know, but what I'm speaking generally here, you know, if we're not even, I can give an example. I have shared on my Facebook page, personal and commission page, multiple times the proposed budget, and said, hey, take a look. Let me know your questions so I can get them asked, right? Nobody has reached out to me. So what we do is we put the onus on others to do for us as a community, when in reality, it has to be a collective effort. Step Up Savannah and all these other nonprofits, they're only a piece of the pie, but the other part of it is that it is us, the people who they serve, who has to hold them accountable. And if it's only us in a silo talking about it and not necessarily bringing the issues to the elected officials who determine that budget or whatever it might be, then ultimately we're just preaching to the choir.
You know, one of the things you brought up I thought was pretty strong. I heard a lot of things step up, but one of the key, a moratorium on rent, and people can live throughout the city and live among different cultures and different people. The rent is just too damn high, and people can't, and it's displacing people. We need something. I don't know exactly where it's to start, but what you say was interesting about the rent. The rent need to be addressed because people cannot live certain places in Savannah anymore. Matter of fact, they're displacing them and they're putting them in pockets, and they don't need to be in pockets.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
you're right.
All right. Well, the Gator, did you want to say something on this, Gator, Commissioner Rivers?
Dr. Red was going to say something next, Julius, I think.
No, he deferred to the two commissioners first.
Okay.
Okay, you know what I'm concerned with, is recreation, sports, and education, because I know those three things go hand in hand as far as developing our kids to be normal, so to speak, adults. And what we have in our school system in the areas of recreation and coaches are coaches that are just there for either the title or the money. Now, we got to get these kids some good, what you would call decent coaches. Hello?
I think
Okay, we heard you.
A lot of organizations are struggling for coaches, and oftentimes coaches are coaches as long as their child is on the team. So that when I hear stories about Frank Allen Boys and Girls Club where the coaches didn't have kids on the team, they were there just for the kids, and we need to see more of that. But of course, I think you have to have the disposable income or the time to be able to devote to that stuff. A person with time don't have no money, and a person with money don't have no time. And so sometimes we don't have enough people who can go out and serve as coaches, because that's a full-time job in itself. When you start, especially beginning of a season, wrangling paperwork and so on and so forth, and dealing with the personalities of parents and stuff like that. And so I think Commissioner Rivers has a point in that when we have a dedicated coaching source, because that seems to be one of the primary means of building character for those who aren't necessarily getting character built at home, then we could actually focus on some of these things and focus some resources towards it.
Yeah.
Now,
but
when Julius, when I say that, what I'm really going after is the fact that our public school system has a means of eliminating good potential coaches. I've experienced it, and I know many others have. To be a part of an educational system that don't allow you to volunteer, it's crazy. And I saw young men come before the school board wanting to be able to go into the schools and help, but because of their criminal background, and these are soft crimes that these kids were involved in when they were young, because of that, these kids were not allowed to coach or work in the public school system. That needs to be changed.
Back to Dr. Toure.
There's a lot to this, and there's so many layers that you all now picked up on. But just like something I shared with some folks on Monday, that when Commissioner Adot has said this when we talk about the silos, those silos are in a whole bunch of areas. It's not just with regards to us. And Commissioner Rivers, what he said when he talked about the public school system with regards to coaches, guess what? That's not just with regards to coaches. That's for any employment there in the public school system. So that's why I tell folks this stuff goes across the entire board. We need a wholesale reformation with regards to all this. And that what I throw up to folks too is that we see this happen, and yes, it's in that pocket right there. But I tell folks now, expand your mind and realize this is across the board. It goes with regards to teaching and with regard to people just even working in the cafeteria. It knocks out people. Exactly. And folks are working there at the board who are aware of this, and then but don't do anything to rectify that. And I had to throw this out there with regards to then again when we say recreation for people, and then again commissioners talking about recreation, and they are correct about that. But there's another element to this, and I'm gonna throw somebody out there, Marion Barry. Now, people hear Marion Barry, they think about Mayor Marion Barry, and they laugh. They think, but guess what? When Marion Barry, when he's mayor of DC, guess what? Any young person in DC had a summer job. They were working in governmental offices there in DC. So that one, what did that do? That gave them some sense of responsibility. That gave them, give those soft skills that we've been going to say that they're not learning soft skills. They're learning how to function within a job, and that's what people never understood. Why do you have a cadre of people so loyal to Marion? Because folks say, I got my first job under him. Because here it is, I'm from this impoverished background, but I can have a summer job. What did I do also? That kept some of them off the streets. Again, even they didn't necessarily have the recreation, but they got some money for school. So again, we look at the funding, and then my sister, Chandra McKeithen, threw up there, when she talked about step up, let's just be honest about this. Some of us choose not to say anything against those organizations because they are our friends. True. They are our they are our cronies, just to put it out there, our cronies. They're our church members. We go along, we get along with them, and we don't want to say anything. And so what happened, and I had said this, so what I'm saying right now, I had shared this over 20 years ago. I said that we know that there are nonprofits in Savannah, Georgia, Chatham County, who are getting monies for services and not doing anything. They get the money in the dark and they do nothing. And they parade out certain people who are doing what they want them to do, but not doing anything. We need a wholesale change with regards to this, and that same spirit. When we say speaking out, being vocal, we need to get rid of this network of executive directors and governmental officials and employees who allowed this to happen. That's why you can go from 11% to 30% with regards to this. And so my solutions, there are plenty of solutions that we need to enact. And that way, again, coming down to
Mr. Brown was trying to say something. Mr. Brown?
No, I'm going to piggyback on what Coach Rivers said. It's like coaches, and I coach in the public system for 24 years in AAU system. The AAU system is taking over the coaches from the public school and all because it's money now. These kids is money now. Everybody, if you ain't coming up with no money, then they ain't gonna sit and coach a public school for a penny. And see, I'll give you a prime example. Zion Williams, right now, he's in some kind of suit against Adidas because when he was coming out of high school, they gave him certain amount of money, and now he come back to bite him. So the AAU coaches is taking advantage of these kids and taking advantage of the kids' parents. When you don't have no money and somebody come knocking on your door with that amount of money, what you gonna do? Because you got to pay your water bill, you got to pay your light bill, you got to pay your gas bill. And that's what's the problem now. AAU is taking over. Kids don't even have to play high school ball. All you got to do is play AAU during the summer and you get you a free ride.
Mr. Brown, let me tell you why. Mr. Brown. Kids don't look to go any place from high school because what the school system does is put teachers in a position that they have no idea or no knowledge of. You get to be a varsity basketball because it supplements your salary as a teacher. This person may not know nothing about basketball. So what happens? This kid gets no knowledge of the game. So he goes to AAU.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to AAU. Kids are not being recruited from high school anymore.
Right. You absolutely right. I see it every day at Swanee Sports Academy.
The high coaches that
you're right.
Are incompetent. Yep. And it's been forever at Beach High School.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on to the next subject. Mr. Rivers, before we get on to the next subject, it was one other thing. When we were talking about mass shootings and we got off onto that, but and we already covered subject number 2 because Sandra brought that up first. But it was one question I wanted to ask you all, and I have a problem with it. I don't know what happened to the commissioner. What happened to the commissioner? Oh, he went out. Um, we have out of town people being hired as police officers. When they get here, they can't adequately investigate things correctly because they don't know anybody in the neighborhoods. They don't know anybody because
Amen.
they're not from here. And how do we correct this? I know we need to hire from home first because then you can get that personal
Community
relationship
policing.
between community policemen. You get that personal relationship from that person that grew up here. They can get information. They can go and find this person. You know. So what do you all think on this? Real short answers because we're gonna get on to the commissioners next. Uh,
Well, we can't not hire people that's not, not inherently local. I mean, that's a form of discrimination, and it just would not do the community a favor. So the police department, whether it be Savannah Police Department, Chatham, or Tybee, whatever, they need to do a better job of integrating these people into the communities. They need to have a program because back in the day, the county had a community policing program. So I mean, you were out there all the time. Particular officers were out there all the time.
Okay.
So that needs to come back strong.
Right, right. And I agree with you. If you're gonna do local, you gotta go into the high schools. They used to have something they call PAL. I don't know if they still have it or not, and start recruiting them and letting them see what they could be. Go to places that offer the police training for local individuals and try to attract more local people to the police department because there's too many foreigners. I call them foreigners. They're not from this area. They do not know how to community police because they don't know the neighborhoods. They don't know the people.
Amen. Amen.
I think
Well,
Mr. Brown. I think Mr. Brown has a point. And I think, but the other thing we have to remember is that policing locally, and oftentimes is stigmatized. I don't want to be the police, especially when I grew up and I was out there ratchet 20 years ago here. So one thing that we can do is make sure that the police departments have the resources to have competitive salaries to make the profession worthwhile. The other thing is making sure that they have the resources to just do adequate screening prior to even hiring folks, because I think that is something that will help with a lot of the issues that we have as it pertains to our police in general, because you got folks who don't have no doggone business being a police officer, but they are. And it's because the screening is slim, because these police departments are struggling to meet a quota, so to speak. They're trying to put bodies in the force. They're trying to put bodies in the streets for a presence. And with that, there's only so many people who can live off of who feel like $43,000 is enough to go out and put their life on the line. So
may I add something?
We have to really be serious about we have to be honest with ourselves about funding or giving police the resources. But again, it all goes back to accountability also. We have to make sure that we're holding the police departments and the leaders who hold those police departments accountable to make sure that they are implementing policies that actually advocate for a diverse workforce, as well as understanding of the neighborhoods that they police.
And Ad hoc, when you talk about the PALS program, The PALS program made young men want to be policemen because of Bolivet. Bolivet treated those men like young men. And what happened from that, he made sure those young men treat each other like men. So when guys left the police department, left PALS, they wanted to be like Bolivet. Because Bolivet made the other cops respect the kids. If a kid was in trouble and this kid and one of the officers saw this kid, hey man, aren't you in PALS? Yeah, take your butt home.
Yeah.
But we don't have that anymore.
You're absolutely correct.
And that's what we need to go back to the we need to go back to some of the basic. We live in a modern technology, social media. We need to go back to hands-on somehow. I don't know where it needs to start at.
In the program,
we got to start it somewhere and stop talking about it and start doing it.
Because one of the biggest problem is this here too. If the community is scared of the police,
amen.
And if the police is scared of the community, then you got a problem.
You got a real problem. You're right.
That's
You're
it.
Right.
You're
absolutely correct. The next subject was that Sandra went and jumped ahead. It's only one question left on that, and I'm gonna try to kill two birds with one stone with this. They passed the new Juneteenth holiday law. Okay, so
no, the senators passed it, not the House yet.
The House is Democratic. They're gonna pass it.
But so I'm saying they hadn't done it yet.
Yeah, I know, but the House is Democrat. If it had left the Senate, left the House and went to the Senate, I would be a little worried about it. But it left the Senate, went to the House. So
okay.
There's
but still, until they do it, you can't say, okay, whatever.
It's simple math. That's the route they take. But my thing is, how can you want to celebrate Juneteenth and not understand that the weeping time is one of the most important events that ever happened in the history of slavery in this country, and we're not out and protesting that, sir?
Let's work to get it noticed. It's a situation over on Montgomery Crossroad and Sally Moo. There's a cemetery over there that had debris all over it, and these people, Mona Drake and all those, went out and they cleared that lot. And then it's an issue now whether or not it should be eligible to have a sign put up to recognize that cemetery as a historical spot. Well, you contact the people, you get the paperwork, you fill out the paperwork, go the format, and you get it done. I don't think it would take a protest or burning down a house or anything like that to get certain things done. We just got to act rationally and get it done.
True.
All right. Okay. Okay. Now we're gonna get on to our commissioners so they can give some answers to us. It's been a lot of stuff floating through the community, and we want to just find out a few things and get you all's take on it, so that y'all can give the viewers an explanation as to how you all feel about it. And the first,
like a broken down refrigerator, he can't keep nothing. Shoot, I'm ready to give it to you.
Okay. I think the first thing was the Recreation Authority of Chatham County. What is the Recreation Authority of Chatham County, and how does it function? I thought it was disabled and deactivated, but I heard that it's trying to be brought back up. And so, if any one of you commissioners want to talk about that, we can.
My mic is open, but I'm gonna give a behind the back pass to Adoc and let him handle it.
I love it. I love it.
All right,
I appreciate that. So, and just for the record, I'm almost at the crib. That's why I cut my camera off. But so, just if you would, Mr. Hall, now what did you say your understanding of what the Recreation Authority was? Because I was
asking you all to give us to to tell us what the Recreation Authority is and what is its function.
And you said it was your understanding something.
That it was deactivated and now it's trying to be reactivated.
All right. Well, we'll start by saying, you said that it was deactivated. Who deactivated it? The Recreation Authority is a state-created entity that was created at the state. So you're saying the state passed some legislation to deactivate, to dissolve the Recreation Authority?
No, from my understanding, that it wasn't fully paneled with commission with people to run it and that it was decommissioned.
Who gave you
On
that?
this
Gotcha.
level.
All right. So I think that because we got some stuff pending on that, right? Now I'm at my crib. Y'all, excuse me. I appreciate your patience. So first of all, the Recreation Authority was something that was created by state law. You know, another authority that is similar that's created by state law, Cat Board. Do we ever let the Cat Board go lie dormant? Do we let the Cat Board not have appointments? We make sure we appoint people to that, right? It was created by the state. Now to hear that you heard, or your understanding is that it is deactivated and stuff like that. Whoever your source is, let them know they left their fingerprints in what they're saying. So with that being said, one thing I'll tell you about a few things I'll tell you about the Recreation Authority. One, the Recreation Authority was created back in the day to help oversee and facilitate swimmers training, or swimmers training facility or something like that back in the 90s. I have the actual act here. So that was one thing that has happened. Now the Recreation Authority then evolved and ultimately ended up getting a building, which is known as the Employability Building. Y'all remember that building? It's on Eisenhower. That building is owned by the Recreation Authority, not by Chatham County. The Recreation Authority also did something which is why it would be silly for us to deactivate that. I don't even know who would say something so silly as this deactivated. The Recreation Authority is responsible for this.
What is that?
Is a bond.
Oh.
That is written by the authority backs the bond for the Tybee Island Marine Science Building. So for somebody to say something as silly as the Recreation Authority, and I'm not directing this to you, Mr. Hall, for the record, to say that the Recreation Authority is dissolved. First of all, if the state did not put out any legislation to dissolve this entity, why is it dissolved? Two, this is an entity that owns a building currently, that also has a bank account. And three, an entity that has bonding authority. Would we let the Cat Board go without having members on it? Would we let any other state-created authority go without having members on it? So for it to,
who are the members of that board?
Yeah.
Who are the members?
Who are the members of the Cat Board?
No. Of the recreation.
Oh, I'm glad you asked. Well,
that's probably what they meant.
I was a member. Here's a letter that I got. This was September 6th. Now, my term was supposed to end, I think, June of 2018. Here's a letter that's dated of September to the members of the Recreation Authority. I won't put it too close. At that point, I was a member as a citizen. And I continued to receive correspondences as a member of the Recreation Authority. Of course, once I got elected, I can no longer sit in a citizen seat. But there are other members.
Can I ask you a question? How do you get on that board? Who does it be notified?
It's a county appointment.
Oh, Julie, do you know anything about it? I never knew anything about that.
No, I know they put the pier out there on the beach, right?
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
They built piers, they built docks, and if you go to the Chatham County website, go to commissioners, and then there's a section that has the boards and authorities, and on there, the stuff is on there, and on there, my name is still on there.
So this is a functioning board right now.
It's supposed to be. Again,
No,
I'm no longer a member.
No, is it as a commissioner? You know all the boards, because what I'm saying, I guess this person was telling me that this board does not function anymore. Not that it was disbanded or whatever. If it doesn't function, it is disbanded. It's sort of.
Again, it has an open bond out. There's a bond out on it right now, and it owns the employability building.
Who are those members? How many members sit on the board?
Yeah, what make up a board?
So when I was on it as a citizen, the three commissioners were Pat Farrell, who was the chair, Helen Stone, and Coach Holmes. And then you had myself, Robert Fritz, Edward Durst, and Ken Mangelsdorf. Now, we meet very rarely. I remember one of the times we met was actually we were one of the largest funders of the Cam Newton 7-on-7 tournament because in the final hour, some funding that was promised did not come through. And so the Recreation Authority also helped to fund that. So now, again, I'm no longer on the Recreation Authority because I'm a commissioner now. So
it's like, does it have a 501(c)(3)? Is it a different entity completely from Chatham County? The county itself?
It is a state authority, Mr. Brown. And,
it's just like the Housing Authority. It's just like the Chatham County, Chatham Savannah Homeless Authority. It's just like
it's a quasi-government entity.
Right. And now, and what my understanding is that, no, it is not dissolved. And the information I have, that it is known that there's a bond out there. That's why it can't be dissolved, because that bond is out there. Yeah. But this is what my concern is, and my thoughts with regards to that, because, and I'm just going to be frank, we know how Pat Farrell is not the only one. And I'm going to say, this goes back in time. This goes back to any appointments before September. We had issues with some of this, and I'm going to say what Commissioner Adar has said that about the budget. And I had to go back in time to say that there are some other commissioners that I had conversations with under prior administration. They said we put it out there and asked our communities to say, what do we need in our community? And no one says anything to them. And so here they want to put docks out there on the south side, and that was okay. But then nothing is happening in the cities. Nothing in particular. I'm going to take it personal right now. In the city of Savannah, nothing is being done. But they said, Jamal, we have put it out there to our people. So what Commissioner Adot is saying, that ain't nothing new, brother. I'm going to let you know that ain't nothing new. That has been an ongoing issue that we've been dealing with here in this city, in this county. Mm-hmm. So my thing again, that we have seen the disparities that no, they have not, when they have been functioning, they have not looked out for these other communities that they should be looking out for. And even with the Cam Newton, I'm like, okay, I know some money is given. Some other people should give some money too. But I'm just trying to say, any of these authorities, we got to hold their feet to the fire, that they got to be fair across the board about the equity, not just having some docks on the south side. Because in the city of Savannah did the same thing also. They get monies in. Guess what? They doing a doggone dock out there on the south side. When I'm like, what is happening in the city? The very thing y'all talking about recreation for our young people, this is what they're taking away from. And we don't be smashing their faces. We need to smash their faces now, because they think we all caught up with them.
Well, I want to be clear on that. Again, one of the last actions, as I sat on the Recreation Authority, one of the last actions that was done was that Cam Newton thing. First of all. Second of all, to say it's not functioning, but it owns a building. You cannot just have a entity that owns a building and not have people on it.
The state can do anything. The state can do anything it wants if the state owns the building.
The state, based on this information right here, sir, this is the act that created the Recreation Authority. Yeah. It is the authority who has the power. Now, the state can go through and dissolve it, and at that point, then that's a whole nother ballgame. But the commission can't do
I
that
never
on
knew
our
nothing
own.
about that.
Y'all
So
disappoint.
in the meantime, it needs to have bodies on it. You wouldn't have the housing authority without people. So, and again, let your source know they left their fingerprints on it by saying on that statement, by saying this is not a active board or something like that. When again, there's a bond out, it owns a building, it has money in a bank account. It is an authority. If that's the case, Cat's been acting a fool. Why don't we just leave that and disband that?
So you'll be able to provide us with the list of the current board members, because are you all about to appoint more board members?
Well, I'm not going to go into detail with that because it's so ironic that this is even coming up, because this was nothing that was discussed in a public meeting. So there we go again with whomever your source is, whomever it may be. It seems like gross incompetence, but I'm not gonna assume anything.
Nothing
to even have this conversation. But again, you asked me what the recreation authority was, and I have the time to answer those in the community. But so you can go on the website right now. Please do it. And any of y'all, pull up your mobile device, go to the Chatham County website,
like the housing authority.
look at the list of boards, and it shows that there are people on it, and it shows that my term was up in June of 18. But I continue to get emails as a member of the authority, emails and correspondences as a member of the authority well into 2020.
Question, excuse me.
Yeah.
The question was, who's on the board?
I named those names already, Mr. Brown.
I'm saying
they're still on the board. Their terms haven't expired.
The terms have expired, but again, the point I'm trying to make, if a term has expired, right? My term, if you go to that site right now, you'll see that my term expired June of 2018. Okay, June 30th of 2018. But then, if you look at this, September of 2018. Now that's after June, right? June, July, August, September. That's after
3 months.
Let's see. Here we go. This is another.
Boy, this is interesting.
Yeah.
I want to say that's the Recreation Authority, but we got a comment that was made that was a public comment. That's why I see my stuff when I said the stuff I threw up. I talked about some public stuff that is done from Perry Farrell and the city of Savannah. That's why I say I ain't just city county with regards to them docks and other stuff like that and doing nothing for our community. But then also, when we got Dean Kicklighter also saying that craziness that he said, and nobody puts him in check about that. That again, because we know that's a strategy that they've been saying, and that's known across the entire country. Why would Dean Kicklighter go and say that?
It's like a diversion.
So I'm like, that's real right there. Why I'm like, we can talk about that. Yeah, whatever the coaching dagger stuff, that's fine. But I'm like, address the real stuff. We're not got people saying we want to stop any money. We need to question them. The government has said this is the requirement that criteria you sort of follow. Don't try to do something in it. Why must we always punish poor people? We always punish the poor people, and that is a tactic that is used by misguided, ignorant Republicans who are anti-democratic.
All right, so it seems like we've shifted gears. We don't want to talk about the Recreation Authority anymore, just to be clear.
Oh, no, we're talking about both, but you said you couldn't talk too much about it.
I think
let's talk about it.
I might say move on that other. That was me. I want to jump in that.
Yeah,
but that's me.
I got one question.
It's not my show.
I got one question.
I forgot. I'm on the Rabble. I'm a guest. I apologize. Oops,
I got one question. Rabble, I got one question. Where do they get their funding from?
Who?
The Chatham.
The Recreation Authority got their funding from the rents that they were collecting from the employability building. That building was leased to employability, and they paid rent for that.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so now, Mr. Toure, I love your spirit, and if we want to talk about checking people first, all right. So correct me if I'm wrong. Is it fair to say that you feel strongly about the state of African American affairs, right?
Well, I'm concerned about human because
human,
especially African American. So I'm going to clarify. And people say spirit and passion. No, it's about purpose. That's why I speak with purpose. And so I'm concerned about human beings, and I look at equality. But sometimes when I now have to address it, when I see the disparity, I just put it out there. So that's why I'm like saying, with regards to when we are talking about trying to send some money back for people who need rental assistance, and I have said, and not only me, but other people have talked about this, that we punish poor people all the time. We put criteria on them. We got folks saying that for them to get assistance, they got to be drug tested, and we got politicians who are on drugs. And I'm not saying anybody here. I'm just saying we have seen that in Florida and seen that in other states. I'm like saying, why would we not go and put the people in check with regards to that? Now, people want to play, if you're engaging in politics, I'm saying that's fine and dandy. But I'm saying we have to address that. And we know that that is a tactic. Just like I talked about the symbolic stuff and the tangible stuff, we get caught up into the symbolic and not the tangible.
Yeah. Well, we talk about the symbolic and stuff, right? The point I was trying to make, if we care about Black affairs and we need to check people, right? I remember my second meeting, there were some actions that somebody should have got checked on. Nobody checked that person, right? But now others, or we, are being asked to check other people, right? So, I digress. In regards I think
we're going after everybody. That's what the deal is.
I'm not listening because I'm trying to finish my statement. So, in regards to Mr. Kicklighter's comments, he made his comments. He has a right to. He was elected by his district. So we don't have to go back and get to arguing with him. And so, yes.
We didn't say argue.
Okay. And so what I asked for was the data. If you watch the footage, because I'm assuming that you hadn't watched the footage, because it seems like you haven't. Because if you watch the footage of that meeting,
I thought I had watched it.
Oh, okay. So then what
I swear to God, I thought I had watched it.
Okay, well, what did I say then? If that's what's in question,
you said table. You talk about the table, so I'm just going to put it out there with regards to us saying we just letting them. He can bandy that stuff, and we understand how Dean is, and we've seen Dean for decades now. We've seen that. So yeah, but I think if you say that, you assume that I didn't watch it. But I'm like, I swear to God, I thought I said that in my room and watched it. That's what I thought.
Well,
now I might have been dreaming, but that's what occurred. But again, I forgot. This is not my show. This is the Rabble.
All right, I'm talking. We're both guests, and I'm engaging you, Mr. Toure. It's nothing personal.
Oh no, I'm not saying no. I'm just saying because I know I don't want Mr. Hall, and Mr. Brown, and Ms. McKeitha saying that Jamal and Mr. Brown saying anything about that. But again, I'm going chill.
It's gonna be Mr. Hall that says anything. I don't say anything.
Yeah.
And Charlie Brown don't say anything when he don't know enough facts. Until he can get to the bottom of things.
And I'm just looking and watch all the videos.
Commissioner, what we want to do is just get your opinion on whatever the issues is. We bring it up because people do tell us things. We are alternative news, as you know.
Yeah.
We are different than the mainstream media because we give it as we see it. If somebody give it to us, then what we do, we call and we ask, and then you was gracious enough to say, I'll come on the show and give my explanation. That's all we want. We're not here to ridicule you. We're not here to jump on you.
I don't take it as that.
I don't take it as that, Mr. Hall. We're here to make sure that we get answers for the public. And if you want to tell us about the $6.8 million that Dean Kicklighter is saying send back, then go ahead and talk about it.
Well, so first, let me say, I don't take it as offense, and I hope that my spiritedness is not taken out of context. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Dr. Toure, and why I feel I can engage, as well as you, everybody who's on this call. But I just want to make sure that when the facts that we're getting, that we're getting facts, or the information that we're getting facts. If that popsicle was dropped on the floor, we need to brush it off first, so that's one thing. In regards to my colleague Commissioner Dean Kicklighter's comments on holding back or sending back $6.8 million, which has already been given to us, I
I understand his stance in that, there are a ton of job openings as a business owner. I deal with the employment shortage and stuff like that. The other thing is we talked about rents being high and stuff like that. Well, one thing we have to remember is please understand that if rent is $650 now and then we continue to print money, rent is going to be $12.50 because the value of the dollar is going to be weakened. All right. I digress. But so in regards to my recommendation to table it is for a few reasons. One, I wanted to make sure that, my colleagues' ideas were addressed because I would expect the same respect. But also I wanted to have the data. We already have received money for the eviction prevention, right? That's the only thing we can spend the $6.8 million on. So let's be clear on that. This is not money we can just take and spend anywhere. This is only for eviction prevention, right? So that day, on the day of the commission meeting, data was due from those groups who we had given money out to which were EOA and United Way. So the data to tell us who they have given this money out to, how effective have they been, and so on and so forth, and giving that money out, that information was due that day. So before we make a decision to say, let's accept this money, let's make sure, A, that we need it, and B, that the people who we have been giving it to are making good use of it. Because if they're not, perhaps we need to find other groups, perhaps maybe the data will come back and say these organizations are overwhelmed. Well, we need to go find somebody else to give it to, right? But if we would have accepted it that day, that would have given staff the ability to go ahead and create a budget. And the easiest way to create a budget when you already got entities that are getting money and giving money out is to give it to those people who already have the infrastructure set up. So I hope I didn't lose y'all in that. But again, we have to be mindful that if we don't sometimes pump the brakes and say, hold up, let's, we walked a mile, let's turn back and see how far we walked, so to speak. Then we ultimately end up getting all the way to the end of the trail, only to realize that we left our water bottle at the starting line. So what I want to make sure is that we are making decisions with all of the data in mind, with all of the information in mind, so that we can make very educated decisions. We can make well-informed decisions and not just stamp and say, okay, this is how it's been. This is how it used to be. These are customs. This is what we're supposed to do. This is what we've been doing. Nah, it ain't like that no more.
So I can take from your dissertation just then that you're not sending a dime back. You keeping the money.
You can't take that from that. I want to see what the data says, and I'm going to make a well-informed decision based on what the data says.
So you don't think that there's people out there that need it? I mean,
we know there's people out there that need it.
We know that. We know that there's people out there that need it, but what if we haven't even touched them with the first chunk, the first $2-3 million that we put out, and we still got like another $2 million from that first phase? We know that people need it, but again, we want to make sure that it's being given out properly, but also, that we do need it. What if the data?
So do we need to enlist other agencies to help with the dispersion of these funds?
We may. It depends on what the data says, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. I don't have a specific answer. We don't know what the data says. I'm not going to sit and talk in innuendos. I don't have all the data.
Too tough.
I don't have all the information. And for you to call what I'm saying is a dissertation, it is comments like that. Why?
No, it was a very good breakdown.
Let me finish. Oh, okay. Well, I took that personal, but
no, don't take nothing personal. You gave a very good breakdown.
But to some, that was a joke, right? And so,
no, it was you explained it so we wouldn't have to ask a second question.
I understand, but hear me out.
No, he did explain it real good. And what's happening? You're giving it some of the agency and the criteria. It might be a little too difficult. Too much of red tapes and too much hoops to jump through. We have to find an easier way to give it to the people who really need it. I don't know exactly what it's going to take, but that's the biggest problem why there's a stagnant. And Joyce was complimenting you because you explained it to me real well, because you say we need to look at other agencies if that isn't going to do it or can't do it, and see if they can help facilitate it.
No.
The point I was trying to make, Julius, is that to some, that may have been taken as a joke, right? And so to some, maybe not all, maybe not you, but to some, if that was taken as a joke, it diminishes the seriousness of what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is serious. This is our money this is our money, like our money that is being divvied out. This isn't, it's from the federal government, but we gave the federal government that money. You see what I'm saying? So I don't want things to be diminished in that, but I appreciate that. And at the end of the day, again, I can't make I'm not going to make a determination right now. I'm not going to make any kind of determination until I see the data. And just so for the record, that's how I operate. I want to see the data. But unfortunately, not enough of us as elected officials across the country operate like that. And so I know I heard some rumblings that I was entertaining the
Sandra, can you
Republicans.
quiet your dog or cut your mic?
Let me cut my mic because he is just going off back here.
So when the data comes up,
I heard some rumblings that I was entertaining the Republicans. Let me tell y'all something. In order to get anything done, I need 5 votes. I don't care if they're Republican, independent. If I want to get something done, my people from my district sent me here to get something done, not to come and be able to speak on issues, but not pass any ordinances, not pass any policy, not change any processes. That's not what I got sent here for. And therefore, I'm going to do what I need to do on behalf of my constituents and on behalf of the community at large. And so if it means working with somebody who identifies as Republican, independent, whatever they want to call, if it makes sense, for the community at large, and just for my district especially, I'm gonna make it happen. I'm not gonna be here. I did not get sent to Chatham County Board of Commissioners to sit here, be a guy who shows up at all the events and is just happy to get some free food and a drink ticket. And stuff like that. That's not what I'm here for. I can buy my own food, thank God. I'm blessed, and I keep some yak. I got my own drinks, So I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to serve the 6th district and the community at large. And if some folks don't appreciate that or like that, that's fine. But one thing my district is going to be able to say is that I operated in fact, not in innuendo, not in customs that have ultimately kept us down. And I operated on behalf of the community at large, the best interest of the community. Because what people think about me does not stop those folks from needing eviction money. What people think about me does not stop inflation from taking place. What people think about me does not stop these businesses from shutting down because they can't hire people. What people think about me does not stop any of us from still having to pay Georgia Power every month. So, I'm here to do a job, and I'm gonna do that at any cost.
Well, we appreciate your candidness, and Commissioner Rivers, you got something to say? In reference to that?
Something to say, but you don't always want to listen
because you talk too long.
Okay, I promise I won't talk very long. My whole battle cry is, in this community, if we fix Beach High School, we fix Savannah. Now, many of you may not know what I'm talking about, Charlie, and many of you may know what I'm talking about. But you can't turn a blind eye to what's going on over there with the nepotism and the disrespect and say that you really care about your young black people. And I yield my time.
Well, thank you, Gator, for sharing that.
Okay.
And Savannah High School also.
I'm talking about Beach High School because that's where I know nepotism is killing our community. Thank you.
And I'm not saying nepotism about Savannah High. I'm just saying we fix Savannah High also.
I know what you're saying about the Savannah High, but in our community, Savannah High wasn't an issue. Savannah High wasn't developing our young black people.
Well,
Tompkins and Johnson was. So what I'm saying to you is, fix Beach High School, you fix Savannah.
And Gator, you did yield your time. Thank you so much. Julius, would you like to go ahead and with the agenda? Thank you, Gator. No, that was good information.
The federal government has ended the supplemental unemployment insurance that they were giving out. So, with that being said, then people will have to go back to work. We understand that this particular allocation of money is for rent, and it has nothing to do with anybody working per se. It's for rent and and utilities or something, I guess.
Yeah, utilities.
But so that's what I was mostly concerned with, to make sure that we know that those funds will be going to the people who need it. Because, as in government and in business, when you're allocated a certain amount of money, if you don't use it, that's what they cut your budget by next time.
Yeah, but this wasn't a budget item.
Right,
so let's
right.
not mix that
I'm
up.
just saying, if they give you money this time and you don't use it, then they figure you don't need it next time. Sometimes.
No, that's not the case, because you have plenty of people who cities who may have put their applications in wrong or late or whatever. It's not the case. If you have the data to support a need and they're giving it out, you put in for it. So don't let that foolishness cloud your brain. That's not how federal dollars work.
No, I don't think you understood me.
No, he understood you.
No, he didn't.
You're saying that basically if we don't use this money, right? If we were to not take the $6 million for eviction assistance, then they won't give us no other money, or they'll assume that.
No, you can put your application in for money later on, but I was just giving an analogy that when you're appropriated funds,
don't apply.
You don't use them. They cut your budget by that. And we understand that this is not a budget item, but this is an analogy that I'm using, that you all should use the money regardless, because those agencies should give the money to where it needs to go. This is how I feel. These agencies, because this is not your job is to give the money out to the agencies so that it can be dispersed to the people in need. I think that when those agencies have a criteria that those people need to meet to get the funds.
No,
so
it's not. It's
that
the
stops
feds
it. Just like the Labor Department. We can't, just like the Labor Department, y'all can't do the Labor Department job. Y'all, if you have money to give out, then give it out. Then the Labor Department needs to investigate to see whether these people are worthy of getting this money.
Well, Julie, that's one of the things I was saying. The criteria is so difficult. We don't know how difficult we make it on the people. We have to come up with ways to find out. But it's not up to you guys. It's up to the agency who you're going to give the money to. And their criteria sometimes are real difficult.
That's not true, Mr. Brown.
That is true.
So y'all set the criteria?
No, the federal government set the criteria.
Before we get
money. And the county had to hire somebody to oversee that this money is being given out based on that criteria. Somebody gets a job right now.
We will hold you to that. I remember that. Okay, I remember that.
So with this data, what is the data going to show you that is going to be so overwhelming that you're going to say, "Oh no, they don't need this money"? Well, make my brain see that, because I don't see what that they could show you that from people, because I'm sure the same people not getting the money.
No. What we're looking at is this here. The data will show us whether or not we have enough money already to take care of the people that has applied.
Maybe he said $2 million was still left over.
Yeah, well, $1 million is left over and we don't need it, what are we going to do with it?
We're going to take that money to ultimately have to give it back anyway.
There you go.
So that's one thing. Another thing is if that money, if there's just so much, well, I guess that bottom line, that's it. If we got enough and the need has been
taken care of,
it has been squared away, then what are we going to accept this more for? We are contributing to, we contributed this to, we can later attribute this to our $5 pizzas being $10 now. And then we're going to be saying, man, stuff is so expensive. So inflation is real, and this is how it happens. Big chunks of money being printed and given out. Whereas we got businesses right now that need people, mine included. Chunks left in retiring. But we're, sometimes I'm not saying that the people who need this assistance are the only ones who are not necessarily working or not trying to work. I'm not saying that, so don't misconstrue my words. But what I'm saying is, it makes no sense for us to take in this money if the data does not support that we have the need. Because now we gaming the system, and then when it's time to give us some more money, what you think they're gonna say? Well, shoot, we gave y'all more. Y'all took more than y'all needed.
So when y'all gonna look at the data?
So let's look at the information. Let's look at the data, because the other thing looking at the data is going to tell us is if the need is so overwhelming, let's go ahead and approve. Let's get this money, but bring on some more groups to help disperse this money.
Mr. Bernard Brown had a question.
I said, so when y'all gonna look at the data? I've been hearing this data. When you gonna look at the data?
We're looking at it.
Oh, okay.
After the next meeting.
When the next meeting?
Yeah, I think you might have missed, Mr. Brown, when I said that the data was due that Friday, the same date of the meeting.
Oh, okay.
So,
I didn't.
We should be getting that. Our next meeting is the 25th, so we'll probably get the data somewhere between now and that Thursday prior to the meeting.
Oh, okay.
The Gator said he already got it. He said he's looking at it.
I'm looking at it now.
Oh, the Gator already got a copy. Send one to ADOT.
Well, the Republicans got all the plugs, man. I'm just still trying to get it now.
Okay.
Golly, you know what? You went to Richard Arnold, you know. You went to Richard Arnold.
All right. Where are we going next? Well, gentlemen, I appreciate y'all coming on and asking the questions. Unless somebody on the panel has a question for these commissioners.
I have a question.
You ain't on the panel, Gator. Yeah. Dr. Toure got a question for
I'm about to say no. It's not a question, but it's a statement. One of the things that we shared early on when we discussed some of the other issues with regards to communication, getting information out there to people, letting people know. One thing, again, we talk about these agencies, and this is separate from this right here, well, at least going back in time when we had the conversation. And I had said over 20 years, haven't been at the Housing Authority, haven't been at Gateway, haven't been involved in seeing how agencies here have not done what they need to do with those monies and help the people that really need the help. And that sometimes it came down to them not putting the information out there, or also an element that has come into play, which I don't think some people have talked about and discussed this because it's not been discussed fully, about the intimidation, also telling people that folks not wanting people to even get the assistance. That factor, I'm curious as if that is something that will come into play also, because people have not have not discussed this at all. And that's why going back again in time, that I tell people we have technocrats, we have bureaucrats, but we need to have communicrats, people who then look at the totality of it all, the holistic. I'm not saying anything with regard to our commissioners right now, but I'm saying that is an element. When we look at information, we need to assess, did we properly put out the information for those folks to go and truly go get the monies that was out there accessible to them? Because sometimes we know for a fact that's not been done, and we sit silent when we know it has not been done. I'm not saying any commissioner right here. I'm just saying that is something that occurs, and we cannot justify those behaviors anymore, regardless.
And that's exactly what I was.
Amen.
I maybe didn't explain it quite that way. I was saying the red tape, the hoops they have to jump through, and it's not happening. And it's not getting to the people needed.
Man,
well, I will say this. I like to look at myself as one of those communicrats. And, with that being the case, though, because I don't operate how everybody used to, what's holding up the progress, Mr. Groover, is the people. It's not the community. It's the people in charge. It's the elected officials.
That's correct. And you and I had this
It's
talk
us.
earlier
Yeah.
about the different agencies, government agencies working in silos. And we talked about, it needs to be a coming together of the county commission 9, the school board 9, the city council 9, the board of elections, the state delegation. Everybody needs to be working together instead of working in their own private silos so that we can get things done. And we
Well,
understand that you're a consensus builder and that you're data driven and as well as you should be. But we also know that our community suffers more than any other community.
mm-hmm.
And until we get people all on the same page and talking in the same room, then we are always going to be operating in silos in our communities. And I would hope that you would be one of those people that try to pull all this together.
Well, and if I may take a quick moment of personal privilege. So first of all, yes, I have everybody. I have reached out to all of my colleagues on the commission. I have conversations with all of them. And I'd like, as you talk about the different municipal entities and stuff like that, I'd like to take this moment for a quick break to support One Chatham. One Chatham is an opportunity where we as Chatham County and the municipalities within it can come together in the best interest of the community at large to save taxpayers' dollars, be more efficient with taxpayers' dollars. And I want to applaud our chairman in this initiative. I fully support him in it. And I really hope that ultimately it does a lot of good so we can talk about public works holistically, so we can talk about recreation holistically. So we can talk about the fact that recreation is not just sports, or the fact that we don't have to duplicate efforts in every municipality. We can come together and make better, efficient use of taxpayers' dollars. So this
You want to answer that question on the board?
Huh?
You want to answer that question on the board?
Who establishes the measurables for the data to be applied? In what regard? Nope. In what regard? Like, it's what are we?
I don't know. Mr. Barnwell asked the question: who establishes the measurables for the data to be applied?
I'm assuming. I'll wait for his response, but I'm assuming he's talking about the data that I was talking about that
Correct.
We're waiting to see. Those 9 people who sit up on that board. What we see is what we use to make a decision on.
See,
now as far as the government, the federal government has given measurables that have to be met, so to speak, as far as criterion as to who gets the funding. But from there, how we divvy the money out is up to us. And so, like I said, maybe over United Way, EOA, and Family Promise, maybe we need more groups. But if that's the case, then that is going to be something that's driven by a consensus of us commissioners in that regard. Remember, the city of Savannah has gotten federal funding for a similar purpose too.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Then we're going to thank, if nobody else have questions for the commissioners.
What about the weeping time?
Oh,
I've been quiet on the weeping
you're
time.
right.
And too quiet.
You're right. You're right. It's on the back of my page, and I was still on the front. My bad.
Yeah.
The weeping time. Can I get your opinion on the weeping time and where you stand on the weeping time dispute?
Yes. So on March 11th, if you go to my commissioner page as well as my personal page, I shared a video that was in support of making sure that the weeping time is this issue is nothing under the sun. So what's the solution to bring relief to people in need? It sounds good. It sounds practical. But how do we get it done? Again, we look at the data and determine we have to get more. If we have to get more people more organizations to divvy it out, but we also have to hold those organizations out, Mr. Groover. And if you have other ideas, I'd greatly appreciate and welcome hearing it. My phone number is 912-657-6855. I am open to all opportunities. I do all ideas. I do not have all the answers. I do not. I do not. But
Okay,
nonetheless,
so
on the
Weeping
11th,
Time.
on the 11th of March, I shared that piece that was basically saying, leave the weeping time and let's build something in memorandum of those families and those slaves who were sold, those families who were torn apart. I believe that the weeping time spot, all history matters. And just like we have given reverence to the founders of Chatham County and other people throughout our city, we need to use that space, which is ultimately sacred land, as an opportunity to not only build some sort of type of monument, but to in memorandum of that, or excuse me, in memorial of that. But we also need to look at something that can help build the community over there too.
Something that
we can use that property as an economic driver, especially as if we start talking about tourism. We talk about tourism as sacred ground. To stand on that, I went and stood on that, and I felt I felt goosebumps to think about what took place on that land. And I'm standing on the same land that families were torn apart, that our people who look like you and I were sold to the highest bidder, the largest, and it rained and all that. Just to think about it, it brought goosebumps. It brought a chill to my body. So I think that land should be preserved. I don't think that that should be an area. Excuse me. I don't think that area reflects as an area of need as it pertains to homelessness. Just like we're building an early learning center on Wheaton Street because the need is there, we need to build homeless locations or homeless resource centers where the need is, and not necessarily relegated to one side. Ease of access is another thing. The other thing is we have to make sure that these locations have all of the resources available to help these homeless people. I have a homeless dude who lives by my house. I took him to try to get him straight. He couldn't pass the urinalysis because he's drinking. I said, come on, man, you just got to not drink one night. He said, man, I sleep in the woods. I sleep in the woods, dog. I said, one night, just don't drink so you could go to what you got. He said, I drink every day, man. One night, it's going to take more than one night. He said, I'm an alcoholic. But he can't get out of the woods because he can't stop drinking.
So you are in support of the Weeping Time being there and it being the Weeping Time property so that we can recognize what happened there.
Absolutely.
So don't forget there's a 7:30 march tomorrow night. If you're available, 7:30 tomorrow night at the site down there. We're going to be marching in a candlelight vigil tomorrow night. Gator.
Joe, you want to get Gator? You want to get Gator opinion?
Yes, sir. That's what I was doing. Mr.
Okay.
Gator Rivers.
Yeah, put a memorial there that can serve our people, and let's keep it moving.
Okay. Don't you forget 7:30 tomorrow night. You be at the march too.
The House passed the bill for Juneteenth to be a federal holiday. The House passed the bill. Julius Hall was right. The House passed it. We're saying Joe Biden can sign it on June 19th. The bill's been passed. Just let y'all know that.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Good. You can speak on it now. They passed it. But when he gave the information, it still had left the Senate and the House hadn't passed it yet.
There's a question for you, Mr. Whiteley, before you go. Will the county finally get a disparity study?
So, will the county commission get a disparity study? So, we have talked about disparity studies. We have talked about area planning. There's a lot of things. Now, this disparity study, one of the things that I'm working on is trying to work with Savannah State and using their students and their professionals who are there, because we have some brilliant minds over there to help do some of these studies. I think I would support it, but I mean, the answer is first of all, we have to have the consensus to do it. I think there is a need. I think I could hopefully potentially build the consensus to get it done. But right now, to be honest, I hadn't necessarily thought about that because I'm still trying to make sure that we are being accountable with our dollars. The budget is out right now. We're about to make decisions on the budget. The DA, I don't want to answer no good questions. I answered it. The answer is I would support it, but at this point, that's not what's on my agenda. One of the things I'm thinking about during our budget defense hearings that the district attorney, we had multiple groups come up and give some data, right? And the district attorney said something that was extremely concerning to me. The district attorney said, as of July 31st, we had 56 people who had been in the jail who had yet to go to trial. So they can't necessarily get a bond, but they had yet to go to trial. Now, that has ultimately cost us over $5 million to house those people. One of the issues we have is a very clogged up justice system. But trying to oh, she must be talking about Gator.
That's a joke.
Flashing. I ain't got flash. Boy, y'all about to get me stabbed. My wife is watching. But but you know, that's the justice system is clogged up, and so how we allocate our funds means a lot. How we allocate our budget means a lot. It's something that deserves time. It's something that deserves more than 10 minutes to tell us about. So that's been one of my pressing focuses, and just trying to understand the budget and all that good stuff. But so to answer your question, AS, I would support it. I wouldn't mind bringing it to the table, but we got some other things that we're working on right now too.
Amen. Amen.
Julius, I want to thank you for coming on. You give a lot of information, because Charlie Brown believed when people fail and the community fail, it's two key reasons: lack of information, lack of knowledge. And again, I thought you was pretty knowledgeable about the subject. I think you're doing a good job. Continue to work for the people, because it is about the people, to make Chatham a better Chatham for not all the people, but all the people. And that we've been excluded so long and been behind the 8 ball. And we don't have to make excuses when we do things for Black people in the Black community, because they have always kicked us to the curb. So thank you. Gator, always a pleasure to see you. I just hope you got your basketball with you to keep your mind focused.
See.
Thank you, Gator.
Well,
yeah, I want to say that. I also want to say that I appreciate both of you giving from the 2nd and the 6th district your stance on the Weeping Time property. I appreciate it. I respect it.
I do too.
I also like to have the commissioner from that district to give us his opinion on it. You know, I don't say nothing behind nobody back. I can't tell them in their face. The commissioner from that district needs to stand up and tell us what he feels should happen over there. We don't need you silent. We voted. You were voted in by the people to give your opinion, and we hope that you take a stance on it. Because if you all weren't working in silos, y'all might can get a whole lot done on that property. But it's a lot of silos. And that's all I want to say.
Well, Mr. Hall, if I could just say thank you again for having me. I always welcome the opportunity to ask the tough questions, to answer the tough questions. I always hope and expect respectfully from you guys to be held accountable. So, you know, any invitation that you send my way, as long as I got the time, you know, I'm going to have time that day. And please don't hesitate to call me if there's anything I can do to help the community at large or anything. And at the end of the day, yes,
I want you to read that comment.
And you know, also, I just ask that the accountability is spread across the board, and not just on the youngest dude up there.
Yeah.
And if we got to check people, let's check everybody who needs to get checked.
You're absolutely correct. If they come on the show, we're going to ask those tough questions, and you handled yourself quite well. And I know Charlie and Sandra and Dr. Toure, Bernard, and Air, whenever she shows up, we'll ask those questions. We're not afraid to ask the questions. We're going to ask the questions. And all we ask is that you answer them as honestly as you can. And we saw that you did that. You didn't fudge any on it. You told us just how you feel. So we'll see how you vote. We'll see how you act on it. You know.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you so
y'all.
much.
Okay.
Gator, thank you as well. You saw
All
the
right.
fading away, Gator. So we'll talk to you later, buddy.
Okay, Charlie. Take care.
Bye,
All right,
Gator.
my friend. Julius, Dr. Toure,
Yes, sir.
don't handle me that slow. Do it with some enthusiasm. I want you to be a part of the Rambler. You go at him. I want you to be able to ask questions and antagonize people. Let them know. I try to explain jumping through hoops and the red tape. It is nearly impossible, and the people never get the funds. They make the criteria so difficult. And I know the Fed give them a certain criteria, but what they do, they add their criteria onto the Fed. And the people never get the money.
Dr. Toure, I just want to tell you that you're going to get talked to after this show by the Honorable Mr. Hall, for your outbursts. So, just so you know.
No, he didn't cuss. He didn't do anything. He didn't do anything. He was quite mannerable.
The challenging questions does not come unpunished.
Well, you know what's good? Ada is pretty knowledgeable. Ada only been there, I think, since January whenever it's sworn in. Evidently, he doing his homework a little bit. He's pretty knowledgeable what's going on.
Son, you was good.
Information, Ada, they call him Ada, I think.
Yeah, he was sharp. And the thing is, I was telling him that his dissertation, because he broke it down where we didn't have to keep asking him a bunch of questions. He broke it down, and that's what he did. And that's how he felt. So that's what we want. We want them to give us their opinions, and we're going to give ours as always, because we don't hold nothing back. We're going to give ours. And
I
that's
thought
just
you
the way
were right to say dissertation because he was given how it took place in progress. I thought it was good. But again, in this world, you got to have alligator hide and elephant skin. And you're in the political arena. There are going to be people who are going to criticize you. Some going to like you. That's a part of it. And I think the guy's a good guy, and he mean well for the community.
I don't know who this fool is. Talking about Charlie is so smart.
Well, see, your problem is, you know why we don't progress?
Who that
You know why we don't progress? Because you make mean comments like that, and that's not good.
Hey, Charlie.
I support you with your gray head. I'll go out my way. Come and stand.
Stop muting him.
See what you're doing now?
Hey, Charlie, and Gator is still on here, and he said he's coming to the office to get you right now.
No, he can come any way he wanna. That person was right to call me smart. I'm smart to shouldn't sit on him.
We all know you smart. We all know you smart. Where you think we get it from?
No, you didn't get it from me. You got it from Dr. Toure. Bernard.
Yes, sir.
Don't let him attack me because you're a member of the colored family. You're a brown, and we have to stick together.
Look at
Hey,
that.
I got you. Hey, I'm telling you, son, I was so proud of you. I ain't never been on this show this long, and you just was smiling and didn't say nothing. I was shocked. I was like, Lord,
I'm so proud of her too.
Because I've been talked to enough. Okay.
Hey, we're not gonna get to everything, but did y'all hear the big speech Friday?
What big speech?
That was the best speech I heard since Martin Luther King's speech. Trust me.
Now you talking about preach?
That was that good?
It wasn't a dissertation. It wasn't a dissertation. It was a sermon. He started preaching.
It was good. It was good.
Oh boy, I tell you. I miss and dropped the mic.
Oh Lord.
At the beginning, not the end. You supposed to drop the mic on the end. I dropped the mic at the beginning.
Well, it wasn't working. The mic wasn't working.
Hey, you picked it up, though. You picked it up.
No, Tanya had to help me. Hey, giving your first public speech when you're running for first time for public office. You forget everything. And then I was going to tell everybody about the story of Dr. Jamal Toure, but then he showed up at the clubhouse. We were for the egg him at the clubhouse. He didn't show up. He had to go take care of some business for his daughter.
But he was best dressed. That red suit he had on.
He was dressed.
Dr. Toure, I mean, Jamal, you was having that suit. You were well dressed. I didn't recognize you until you pull your mask down a little bit.
Because it was Julius announcing, so that's why I thought that was the criteria. That's why that's what I thought. But I'm like, okay. So, but I'm ready for the next time. I'll be right there. I'll go and say, Julius found me in the corner just like this.
Yeah, crying in the corner. I found him. I say, behold, I picked him up. He was over in the corner. The only one greater than you.
No, I think Jamal making a reference. I'll hold on that pole. My knees are about to fall out. I was about to fall out.
Say Charlie's retirement speech.
That's correct. They don't have to keep telling me I'm coming Superfly. Mildew barbecue, what you gonna do?
Somebody said, is Dr. Toure married? Oh, Lord.
You know what? I know that for a long time too. Say it.
But I'm not married, and I am definitely, if somebody want to love me, I am willing to be loved. Because right here, love heals. The shirt guy said love heals, so that I need to be healed.
Well, you're gonna be the next bachelor. You're gonna be the next bachelor then.
We're gonna put you on our bachelor show. I'll be the bachelorette.
Yeah.
We gonna make some connections all over the place.
That sounds like a series for ATR for the platform for All Things Relevant Media.
Hey,
Bachelorette Savannah. The Bachelor Savannah.
That's right. That's right. We get them together. We might not keep them together, but we're gonna get them together.
The frozen chosen. Don't y'all forget Friday at 10:30. This coming Friday at 10:30 at night, the premiere of America After Dark. Lord have mercy.
Hey,
Lord have mercy. Ain't on June 4th no more. It's on June 18th.
Hey, June 18th. You see my phone? Hey,
and
I'm ready.
And when you say that, Julius, I just had something come up my phone said, Miles Davis, Brown looking a night I didn't want to end. As soon as you said that about America After Dark, I said, oh my God, this is a sign from God right now. Brown looking a night you don't want to end it, Miles Davis. Lord Bernard Brown.
Y'all tune in because it's going to be hilarious. And it's going to be fun. It's for grown-ups only. Watch your kids on the computer.
Facebook jail. Don't go to Facebook jail.
Yeah, please don't go to Facebook jail. Well, his show is going. We're going to be syndicating his show over to one of the other networks after the third or fourth week. It won't be on Facebook. We're going to be putting his show over on another, so he can do whatever the hell he want to do on those other platforms. But we want to get everybody 4 weeks, a month worth of scening, so they can know that he's going over to wherever we're taking him. We're trying to figure out what platform that'll be, but it's an after dark show, so you'll be able to get your wine, sit back, and listen.
If a person kind of light skinned, they can't be on the show.
Yeah, light skinned people could be on there. Yeah.
Oh, because he said something about after they have to be dark.
America After Dark.
Charlie, you're gonna be asleep. You're gonna already be asleep. Okay, so you're gonna miss it. You're gonna have to just catch the show at a different time because you're gonna be asleep. We already know.
Yeah.
But Bernard,
now he don't go to sleep till Sandra. He don't go to sleep until 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna tell you that because sometimes he called me 12:30 at night. He'll be watching. He'll be watching if he ain't on the show as a special guest. All night long.
I know it. What you saying, Sonia?
When you're focusing your camera, pull it up so that everybody's just not looking up at you.
Right.
You know, so yeah, so you could just look straight on like everybody else. See, because you looking down like you're looking down on us, and we're looking up your nostrils the whole time.
Okay.
So,
Jew, I got some in my pocket. It's hard and got a head on it. Do you know what I say?
A dime or a quarter.
No, it's a nail. I was working on the house today. It's hard and got a head on it, and it was hurting my stomach right there.
That's for America after dark.
See,
okay, that's for America after dark.
Nobody wants to have that image in their head. We can't even see that.
No, Joyce, I was working on the house today. I was working on the house, and I got this nail.
He was outside working on the house.
And that's a nail.
We're going to get to the subjects that we didn't get to touch on, and one of the main subjects was two of them. One was absentee candidates, those candidates that are always coming out to run but don't stay active in the community during the time in between they lost and the next time that they reign. So we're going to be talking about that particular candidate. It's a lot of them. They need to be active the whole time, stay in the public space so the public can know that they're serious about serving as a servant instead of a politician. And then the other subject is the CRT. We're going to be talking about that, and we're not talking about the critical race theory. We're talking about the critical race thinking. And we'll probably be talking about that. If we don't get to it on Saturday on the Watchdogs, we will be getting to it on next Wednesday on this show. So y'all come prepared. Critical race theory, no critical race thinking. Okay? Y'all can give your closings. Sandra, we'll start with you. What's your highlights for
you
the day?
guys have a wonderful week, rest of the week, and be safe down there in Savannah because, get your bulletproof vest, whatever y'all need to do. Y'all body counts getting up.
Bernard.
Hey, I can't wait to come home. Can't wait to come home Friday. I'm getting excited about it. I want to see my people. And great show. Glad to see you, Sonia. I got my new phone now. Just letting you know, Mr. Brown.
You'll see me Friday if you're in Savannah, because I'll be in Savannah.
I'll be there Friday morning. Yeah.
Okay, I'll be there Friday night.
Okay, y'all will see each other. He's gonna do the show from here, Sandra.
Right.
Friday night.
Okay, because I'm staying with them. So yeah, we'll see each other.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see each other.
Well, you're gonna be the first guest.
That's right. I'll sit right next to you.
And okay, Dr. Jamal Toure.
Well, we're glad to be here, and just as my sister Chandra McKeithen said, I know I'm gonna get an earful when we get off the air, because I know how Julius Hall, the producer, is. I know how he is, but I forgot. This ain't my show. I apologize.
No, you weren't bad. You were not bad. So you won't be getting the earful. You were okay.
And
Sandra.
I might be violating something right now, but elect Julius Hall, Mayor Port Wentworth.
That's right.
It is.
There you go. Volunteers needed. Come on out. Yes. And the old smart great guy. The smart great guy.
I just like to say, Dr. Toure, I call him Jamal. I really think he should be on the Rambler. I think he will be a great addition. He know how to ask the good question, antagonize people, just give them some good overall workout. I'm asking him to join the Rabble because we need a mouthpiece like him. He'll be very beneficial to the show to shut you up because you was long-winded in your announcement for Port Wentworth. I know you want to win, but you don't have to preach and preach and preach. Everyone was saying they started to send in an offering. A special friend of mine gonna send $500. Oh, they can bring it in person. But I would like to say y'all have a good night. And Mr. Brown, Matter of fact, I'm gonna sleep earlier so I can watch the show on Friday.
All right. I appreciate that. And I'll bring you a cigar. I'll bring you a cigar.
I don't like cigars.
But just hold it in your mouth.
Bring him a
Not
Pepsi
me.
in a
I
bottle.
don't like cigars. One more time.
No.
I don't like cigar. Don't want one in my mouth.
Mr. Brown,
Thank you.
put it in your pocket where that nail at.
Okay, now you talking. Now you talking. Now you talking.
That's Friday night action. Well, we thank y'all for tuning in. Share. Y'all stay on afterwards so we can talk for 2 minutes afterwards. We want everybody to share it, please. And thank y'all for tuning in. And good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.